Hi. Hi, friendos. How's it going, everyone? So yeah, welcome back. Welcome in. We're here. We're live. Well, I didn't really take a break, but I found out I can't afford a break. So we are trying to fundraise for a little bit. See what happens. We're streaming to YouTube, but there's like nobody there, so I don't know. I'm gonna like keep it live, but I was trying to go live when the surfs ended, so like I could get that break between the surfs ending and Leftist Mafia starting with like a lot of the people who would normally be at one of my lives. I'm like, oh, that'll be perfect, but I was too slow. Too slow. Yeah, I have no plan, no concept of a stream. Just yeah, really sad and depressed and scared and you know, really going through it right now, so. It's cute. I was listening to surfs on YouTube and I heard Scribbles got gifted a sub, and so like I was like gonna go over to the Twitch chat and say what's up, but it was like close to the end of the stream. I mean, I have 90 days. I don't know. And your situation just got a lot more complicated. But we can talk. You know, if it comes down to nowhere or your place, it might be your place. Well, I guess it's like 80 days now. It's the 10th. Hi, Night Rider. Mona! Over on YouTube's. Oh, and I got a copyright strike on my YouTube channel. That's great. Thanks. Yeah, it's like you get like 3 and then they delete your channel or whatever. But like they already took it, they already removed it because it had a copyright strike in it. They don't fuck around. But that is why we have the lame, mellow background music. Forgot I was gonna take a nap. I need a nap. Thing said urgent. It is urgent. It's... I die high? And I'm just... Do I put off my nap? I mean... I don't need you to, like, come get me, but... I saw urgent, so I made my way in. Yeah, it's so embarrassing. Like, I need money. I need cash flow. And I should get paid in, like, 5 days. But I need cash flow. I saw it live, so I made my way in because that's just what I do. Yeah. So... And like... The drama has got me really upset. Libra Vision Network, hello. Like, nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a supportive space. Yeah, I guess. Thank you. I mean, it's... It's rough. No, I don't get super chats yet, but you can donate. I have links in the description. There's a tip link, and then my Cashapp and Venmo are in there, as well as the GoFundMe if you want to learn more about what's going on. But GoFundMe takes a chunk, so it's not the preferred way of collecting donos. My space buns look crappy. I don't know how these people do it. some bobby pins or something. I don't know. Yeah. All my links. Thanks, Mo. I think this works. Yeah. You can donate there. If you have the means and feel so inclined, I would really appreciate it. Any little bit helps. Yeah, it's just... Oh no. Okay, I suppose I should give you guys some content, yeah? Like I said, I did not have anything planned for this stream. I just thought I'd come on live for a little bit and see if anyone can help me out. Good night, Ryder. We just watched that though. Like I was just there watching and like I don't know. It is always, you know, entertaining. Get wasted and watch some dog shit content. I want to get wasted. That sounds nice. Though. What the heck? Oh, you did, AC? That's so generous of you. Thank you. Thank you. Watch the hurricane damage, yeah. Hi Mode Bong, welcome in. Or be hopeless with Trump creating ground and electoral polls. Okay, Libra, we'll get the content going. Jeez. You're not used to Twitch streams where we just sit here for a little bit. Oh, come on. Oh, just throwing ideas out there. Oh, I thought you were like, show me this. Show me this. Come on, streamer. Show me the content. Oh, that's exciting, AC. Sounds good.
There may be a snake, there could be an alligator.
I'm in Point Comfort on the Gulf Coast in Texas, and there's something dangerous lurking in this water.
Lexi.
Oh, wow. That's all plastic pellets in there. Plastic pellet, plastic pellet, plastic pellet.
Microplastics have shown up in the blood, brains, and testicles of nearly every human tested.
Microplastics.
Microplastics are everywhere.
They've been found in almost every organ in the body.
We're eating and drinking more plastic than we might have realized.
And you might be likely to blame your own personal behavior for this junk ending up in your body.
Swap out that plastic cutting board.
Plastic is being leached into my coffee.
But it's not all from your cutting board or water bottle. Plants like this one are producing a form of microplastics that are relatively unknown and nearly completely unregulated.
The problem is once they get outside the fence line, they get into the waterway, things can eat them because they look like fish eggs. They absorb the harmful chemicals like PCBs and PAHs, and those are the things that make them hazardous once they're in the environment.
Hi, Heathen Granny, welcome in.
So I went to the Texas Gulf Coast, dotted with chemical and plastic manufacturing plants, to figure out how microplastics are ending up in our waterways and ultimately in our bodies.
So all those little white dots, those are all pellets.
Pellets.
That's all plastic pellets in there.
And why the corporations largely responsible face no repercussions. Plastic was invented in the early 20th century, but didn't become mass-produced until World War II, when America needed to manufacture armaments quickly.
Armament manufacturers immediately turned to plastics for assistance.
But when the war ended, there was all this plastic infrastructure with no war stuff to make, so they had to pivot to consumer goods. And part of that was convincing people during the 1950s that this stuff was normal and natural.
Plastics come from many different raw materials. Some of the materials are natural elements like water and air, with many contributions of the kingdom of plastics designed for practical, gracious living.
Well, some predictions from the 60s were a bit overwrought, like the guy who said plumbers would use so much plastic that they'd be called plasticators. A lot of these early predictions of the future were accurate. You know this, you live in the future. Plastic is everywhere. There's one invention that really shows how the industry operates.
The easygoer lightweight plastic bottle for Coca-Cola.
The Easygoer, the first plastic soda bottle, was introduced by Coca-Cola and Monsanto, the chemical company, in the early 70s. After a quick FDA approval, the Easygoer was launched in small test markets, and according to this film produced by Coca-Cola, people loved it.
My brother bought some Coke in a plastic bottle and I tasted it and it tastes the same as in a glass bottle.
Tried the plastic bottle and I like the way it tastes.
Love them.
The bottles are made using a chemical called acrylonitrile, which studies at the time showed did not leak significant particles into the beverage inside, which is important because acrylonitrile is a carcinogen when consumed.
Only from your Coca-Cola bottler.
Just 2 years after the test run launched, the FDA rescinded approval. The amount of migration of particles from bottle to contents wasn't safe. The bottle was banned.
I like it very much. I have a youngster, 5, and I feel safe that he has the Coke in the plastic bottle.
The FDA approved the safety of acrylonitrile bottles using testing data from Monsanto, who made the bottles. The FDA did no testing of their own during the approval process. Obviously, bottles don't use acrylonitrile plastic anymore, but the Coke Monsanto story shows how the chemical industry manipulates facts and regulators to push things that we don't fully understand yet out into the world as quickly as possible. From 1950 to today, plastic production went from 2 million tons a year to 450 million tons. Along the way, we see something
I'm also
familiar
on
pop up.
YouTube if you want to watch over there.
In the 1965 congressional hearing, a mention of the waterway between Connecticut and Massachusetts, about where the Monsanto plastic plant was. Strange plastic pellets emerging in the water. To find out how this plastic's getting into our water and everything else, I went to the Gulf Coast of Texas, which has the highest concentration of plastic production plants in America.
So always looking for the round ones, right? Or like the little guys, yeah.
Right. So I got 3 already.
This is Jace Tunnell, a leading expert on the ecology of the Gulf of Mexico at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Jace spends a lot of time looking for those little plastic pellets I mentioned earlier. He runs the Nurdle Patrol, a project for citizen scientists around the world to go out and search for nurdles and report their findings, so Jace's team can discover trends. Sorry, I just kind of threw the word nurdle at you.
Yeah, nurdles is a plastic pellet, and so they're about the size of a lentil, and it's actually the raw material to make everything plastic.
They're individually small, but they're the second largest source of plastic pollution worldwide. Jace's first foray into nurdle hunting showed something shocking.
So in 2018, I was at the beach and looked down at the high tide line, and that's usually where you just see sticks, leaves. That's where you look for seashells. But when I looked down there was solid plastic pellets in there.
At the time, Jace thought the nurdles he found were from some major spill. He called the Coast Guard and a state agency responsible for regulating things like this, but instead of doing anything about it, they basically told Jace to figure it out himself. And what Jace found was much worse than just one big spill.
Each facility has a different extrusion plate that makes the shape and size of the nurdles, and then the color difference. So like the yellower the color, the longer it's been into the environment. So once you look back at the sample that we have taken during that initial spill, we now know that 99% of those nurdles were all different. And it could be, 200 to 300 nurdles. And if all of those are different, that is literally 200 to 300 different spills that had occurred. And it really shows that there's a chronic problem with nurdles getting out into the environment.
Big spills do happen, like all the time. But the persistent problem isn't some big accident that would make the news, but just putting these things out as regular standard operating procedure, part of their daily routine. Jace's Nurdle Patrol puts out a map that shows where citizen researchers are finding this stuff, and it really illuminates how it's happening.
Yeah, so what we have found over the years of collecting this data is there's a close correlation with where plastic is manufactured to where the higher concentrations are.
You also see higher concentrations around train tracks. Nurdles are transported by train, and they just fall off along the route.
Unfortunately, with these pellets, it's this chronic everyday problem that at the manufacturing site, a little bit falls on the ground. During transportation, a little falls on the ground. During distributing, a little falls on the ground. When it rains, it really just accumulates into the rivers, washes out into the oceans, and washes back up. And there is no body to clean it up.
To make things worse, these things aren't considered hazardous waste by the government, and that's an important distinction. They're barely regulated, meaning companies can kind of do whatever they want.
You know, these pellets are lightweight. They put them on the very top and on the outside of shipping container boats. And so if they were considered hazardous material, they would actually have to put those containers in the hull of the boat. If there's a spill, they would have to document how many were lost, and they would also have to log where they dispose of them. So it would change basically everything about, you know, the way that they currently handle the plastic pellets.
In 2022, Texas regulators plan to start treating nurdles as the dangerous pollution they are, but industry lobbyists stop them. So let's look at some industry hotspots on Jace's map.
And so if we click on here, you can see over 16,000 nurdles by one person for a 10-minute period.
16,000. So we were looking at 200 before. That's 16,000.
Right. And so since this is right outside, you know, Formosa Plastics, it's easy to see why the concentrations would be so high right here.
16,000 nurdles in 10 minutes. That's a lot of nurdles. So I headed to Point Comfort, Texas, where Formosa Plastics is headquartered, to find out more. My contact there was Diane Wilson, a local of nearby Seadrift, Texas, and fourth-generation commercial fisherwoman who's been standing up for local communities against their polluters for decades.
Chairman Stoop. Chairman back. Ranking members Brown.
This is what it looks like in the marshes. This is what it looks like for the fishermen down there. And I think you need to be charged with a crime. You need to go to jail. As a matter of fact, I've got some chains and I'm going to do a citizen's arrest. Ma'am.
If you go downtown Seadrift, we used to have steelworks. We had marine supplies.
All that business is gone.
Yes, it's gone.
And you link that, is that linked directly to Formosa moving in?
Well, it's all of the plants, but Formosa has made a big impact.
Formosa, a Taiwanese company, has had a presence in Texas since 1979. They fought hard to get quick approval for constructing their chemical plant near waterways. 10 years later, they fought hard to get approval to expand it, threatening to move the entire plant out of Texas if they didn't get approval tomorrow.
The money's coming in, but what happened to the money that all these families, these workers, these small businesses were making?
Do you know they don't even count them? Nowhere in there is the cost of the devastation of all of these fishing communities, the fish houses, the jobs that went along with them.
The state and federal regulatory agencies decided the impact of the plant and its expansion were minimal in comparison to what they saw as an economic boon for the area. But the only boon was a boon of plastic waste everywhere.
It was in people's swimming pools, it was on their cars, covering their cars. So it was everywhere, except it was total denial and the state wouldn't do anything.
But there was someone who could do something. Diane. Like all of us, she kind of has the power to be a regulator herself due to one bill.
Hey,
In
Beaver.
the Clean Water Act, there is a provision that if the state or the feds are not enforcing, then a citizen can.
So Diane started collecting evidence to sue Formosa Plastics for polluting the waterways.
I found out where all of their stormwater outfalls were, and I got a kayak, and I literally discovered them myself.
I appreciate
Nobody
that, James.
told me where
Thank
they're
you.
at. When you have
for the
rain,
thought.
everything is jammed, and it goes over, and it just goes out.
Just straight into this water.
Straight out here. Plastic was everywhere.
She allied with workers at the plant who saw firsthand how cavalier Formosa was in mishandling the leakage of vinyl chloride, a chemical used in plastic production that at high enough levels of exposure can cause cancer.
They would have maybe a 2,000-pound release, and it was like all over the yard, it's all over the cement, it's in the ditches, it's overflowing. And he says his supervisor would come in and he's like, well, how much is over there? And he says, tell me what you want me to write. And they eventually reported 2 pounds. 2 pounds to the EPA. And it was over 2,000. And he said, I lied for them every time.
Diane won $50 million from Formosa, the largest ever citizen settlement, for the harms they wrought on the bay, and that money went directly to the fishing community that had been destroyed.
50
But
million.
when we talk about that amount of money as a punishment for Formosa,
Yeah.
do you feel like that's enough to be a true punishment to them?
No. Not
I
at
have
all.
a crumb.
For comparison, Formosa made 4,000 times that in 2019. And these companies, Formosa, Dow Chemical, Chevron, and DuPont, and Exxon, and the rest, push solutions that are distractions and half measures designed to make it look like they're doing something without really doing anything. Like Operation Clean Sweep, the entirely voluntary slate of best management practices plastic companies adopted in the 1990s to avoid pollution that even Formosa signed up for. It clearly didn't do much to stop Formosa's plastic pollution, but they sure talked about it a lot. So what does this all mean for you? Well, it could be making all of us sick. Researchers at the University of Vienna have even linked microplastic ingestion to colorectal cancer. At the same time, we're seeing more and more of that cancer among surprisingly young people. The effects on the endocrine system, that's where hormones are produced, are widely documented. And microplastics are showing up in fetuses and placenta. We have no idea what this will do to our next generations.
It's real concerning to read all these papers that come out and hear that there are microplastics in our organs. What long-term impacts is that going to have? Do we have a real answer for that yet?
Congress may finally be doing something. The Plastic Pellet-Free Waters Act was introduced to Congress in early 2024 to address the lack of EPA and state regulation on nurdles. But the plastic industry's been pushing back hard, citing the Do Nothing Clean Sweep program as evidence the regulatory changes are unnecessary. And it's important to remember it didn't have to be this way. This is all about profit. Keeping these particles out of our waterways would cost these companies more money. Pumping out more and more plastic products is profitable. But is any of that savings getting passed on to you, or only the chemicals that are poisoning you? Even back to the Coke bottle.
Along with measuring consumer response, these
Thank you, Blue Room.
Peacefire now raided your channel with 36 viewers.
Boomerang
Amazing. That was Shaka
Thank
Khan
you so
and
much,
Rufus
Peacefire
Ain't
Now, for
Nobody.
the
I'm
raid.
guessing that
Let's
was from
go.
the movie Breakin'. That came out in 1984. Yeah, that is definitely nailing the assignment. Lots of dancing there.
Welcome,
And
raiders.
yeah, can't say I've seen.
Hello. What is good? Thank you so much, Peacefire Now, for the raid. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a lovely stream. How did the pumpkin turn out? Welcome in all the cuties. Welcome back. Hot Sauce, CJ, Spooky Bert, Squishmallow, One Great Earth, Fabuli. Let's freaking go. Orchestrane. Orchestran? Sorry. Hi, welcome in. Adrian. Yeah. Welcome in. We are doing a little bit of a oh, nice. A little bit of a fundraising stream so I can get some cash flow to help me out before I get paid in like 5 days. So direct donos are greatly appreciated. Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal. I am also crowdfunding for a move. Another one. I know I did this like a year ago, but hey, guess what? I have to move in 90 days, so or less. Actually, it's like 80 days, and I have no fucking idea where I'm gonna go, and not any time to make any money. So gonna try to magic up some resources. So follows greatly appreciated. Yeah, it is fucking stressful. Can we share the links? Yes, please.
Threw a kilo of pure uncut white supremacy on the table.
Yes, please. So, you can tip directly here. All donos there. GoFundMe is here. Investment capital, right? Then I can get the tax credit for starting a small business if I just had like, $50,000 to invest. or a down payment for a first-time home, or credit enough to get a loan for a first-time home. You know, maybe if I had some of those things, the Democratic plan would actually be looking good. Yeah, gotta have those boots. DJ, thank you for the dono for your moving stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Y'all are saving my booty. Only if you can, Squish. Please don't hurt your own budget. Just to help me out. Hi, Schmegley, welcome in. You know, I know it's hard out there for everybody. So we are wrapping up this video from More Perfect Union about plastics being in literally everything and how we don't know the long-term effects of plastic consumption, I guess, since it's now like in our fucking body, in our food. Thank you, Squish. Yeah, the stressing about housing is really awful, and like my situation is like particularly kind of depressing because it was like I crowdfunded to move to this house, and then my sibling moved her boyfriend in, and he like it's like he's like taking over and like kicking us out. So it's very much like, you know how in 1948 the Palestinians like welcomed Jews into their homes, and then like within a year those same Jews like kicked those Palestinians out of their homes? It's kind of like that. At least that's how it feels. Democracy trademark, you're free to shop amongst a variety of the bourgeoisie parties. Yeah, what's up, Seth? Seriously, hey Manuel, if we had housing for all, just housing, there are humans who pay more than half their income on rent. Rent is ransom, profit is theft. Let's go. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, Manuel gets it. Yeah, like, I mean, this guy, like, told me I needed to, live in, like, assisted living because I'm disabled. As if that's just something you can just, like, easily just do. But then says I'm using my disability as a crutch. Oh. Good times. Okay. Let's finish this up real quick and then we'll get into some
Tests enable Coca-Cola USA to further evaluate the technical, manufacturing, economic, environmental, and health aspects of the new container.
They pushed the bottle out quickly to test the environmental and health effects on real people, which is kind of what the entirety of the plastic project feels like.
Unfortunately, I think we're probably going to learn the hard way of, what the real impact is over time.
For today, plastics are changing the appearance of our everyday world. New materials will be found, new processes discovered, not by those now engaged in industry, but by you. Your new frontier.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support more nonprofit independent journalism like this, fighting corporate greed, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if there's something that makes you as worried as microplastics make me, let us know in the comments. We'll try to make a video about it.
You guys want to vote? Okay. Now let's take a look at who do Trump voters blame? Their answers will shock you. Because we asked Trump voters, who is the problem in America? My terrified meter was on. You can eat farts. Yeah, seriously, fuck that guy. You post the link of the video again. Yes. Yes.
Run.
Yeah, the one about the microplastic. Yep, I got you. Richie Schmegley, hello. Okay. We asked Trump voters who they blame for America's problems. Let's go. You guys want to vote?
I'll vote.
You'll vote?
Who should we blame for our biggest problems? That question is at the heart of politics, and it's what brought me to the Allegan County Fair, to see a musician who went viral for blaming a very powerful group of people.
There's rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
We recorded it on a Saturday. I think he uploaded it on Tuesday. And by Thursday, man, we were on a roller coaster ride.
The year's least likely #1 single.
The message that's resonating with millions of Americans right now.
I've seen songs go viral, but that's pretty bananas, son. Your shit went to the moon.
Rich Men North of Richmond isn't your average country song. It's not about trucks or cold beer. It's about rich men who control our lives. And that message resonated across the political spectrum.
I mean, he was speaking for the masses.
This applies to everybody that is not in a position of power, and that is 99% of us.
He spoke facts on that thing too.
He said the rich men trying to take control.
The rich men north of Richmond.
But from the moment it took off, the song's meaning was also hotly debated.
Why is this song striking?
I moved in January. Like, it sucks because it was my sister's idea. He was like, we're gonna move into this house. Won't have rent until April. And then like March, she's like, I'm moving my boyfriend in. And I'm like, what? Like, it wasn't like, oh, let's have a conversation about it. So I just feel really railroaded and like, like I can't stay here. So, I'm pretty much like on my own, like I have my mom is like, we're gonna try to like stay together, but like if it's cheaper to like get me like a room, like if I end up having to like room it for a little bit, before we can get a place, that might happen. Like, or like if she ends up leaving the state, like I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Yeah, ideally we would move together because she still helps me with like food prep and like laundry and stuff that I struggle to do because of my disability. And so it would be ideal for us to stay together, but it's also like potentially more expensive. So it's very rough and stressful, and it's like the worst time of year to have to move too. It's like the weather's about to get nasty. Like nobody's like moving. There's like no apartments. Like that's the thing. I can't find housing that I can afford. Like anywhere. There's not a single apartment that I can even like pay for with all of my monthly income. I cannot find a studio, a 1-bedroom, a trailer, anything with all of my monthly income that will cover rent. So like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Such a nerve in this country right now.
Our country is in decline. We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline.
It's funny kind of seeing the response to it. Like, that song has nothing to do with Joe Biden, you know? It's a lot bigger than Joe Biden.
Hey, thank you for the Cashapp
So what is the
dono.
song actually about?
Thank you
Why
so
did
much.
it resonate so widely? And who do people blame for their biggest problems? The answer to those questions tell a bigger story about what's really going on in our politics.
Oh, boy.
And why we're so damn divided.
We have way more in common than we'd like to believe. We have a common enemy. We do. How are we feeling about the concert? Excited?
Excited. It's freaking Oliver Anthony. We had it.
We gotta do it.
Before he picked up a guitar, Oliver Anthony was working low-wage factory jobs.
I like him because he's an ordinary person. He refuses to do big, like, stadium shows.
He's speaking out for people who sometimes don't speak out for themselves.
And some of his biggest songs are about the struggle of working-class life. You've got hits like Ain't Got a Dollar.
Ain't got a dollar, but I don't need a dime.
But Rich Men North of Richmond is by far the biggest.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away.
Come out for the Oliver Anthony show?
I was gonna, but I couldn't afford tickets, so.
Oh, I feel like that's kind of related
This
to Rich
is
Men North of
turning
Richmond,
into
right?
a revolution.
Narwhal underscore by underscore nature gifted 1 subscription.
Yeah, so what
Narwhal by Nature gifting a sub. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Knight Rider. I saw that. Thank you so much. Sub hype. Believe it, rent is out of control. Yeah, I guess. Maybe not technically vulgar Marxism, but it feels, original sense feels good to me. At least working class. First glance actually isn't. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that gets painted, you know, on like the left and the right as being like for the people and for the working class, when they are only for certain people, even in the working class. It's like some spaces are more racist, some spaces are more ableist. Like, it's, the intersectionality is still not there. That's my analysis.
do you do?
I work at a daycare 4 days a week, and then 3 days a week I work at a movie theater as a cook, and then some weekends I work another job that I've been working for a couple of years, so.
Should one job be enough?
Oh, 100%. It should.
Why do you think it isn't?
Politics, I mean.
Politics is also the answer that Oliver Anthony offers in the song's most famous line.
Rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what
That Rich Men North of Richmond song. Did that line specifically resonate with you? Like, rich people?
Well, obviously, fuck DC.
Okay, right.
Fuck the government. I can't even trust our own government that's supposed to be, like, looking out for us. I can't even trust people in high power, and I feel like we should.
The richest people on earth, do they have too much power, too little, or just enough?
Too much. Are you kidding me? Way too much.
How much blame do you give to, like, the biggest companies on earth?
Amazon. and Elon Musk and Disney, of course.
Yeah.
Because all of them are money scandals.
Do you personally feel like you're living by the same set of rules that Elon Musk is living by?
No. I feel like he could get away with a lot more because he has money. He could pay off. I feel like a lot of the courts and stuff are rigged to people who have money.
You try to start a business, you're getting punched down on by a bigger business. Like my cousin started a liquor company, did really well. His name was this close to somebody else's. Like punches right down.
The big corporations have to get knocked down a little bit. I grew up on a hog farm in southeast Missouri. There is no little man hog farms anymore. Prices are outrageous. I mean, we can't. I went the other day, $5 up for a dozen eggs because they want to make more and more money. Yeah, it's like, okay, we got away with making 10 cents. Oh, they won't care if we gouge them another 2 pennies. Well, next thing you know, they're making triple and quadruple what they're supposed to make.
How important to you is it for us to do something about that? Corporations just kind of being able to charge whatever they want.
I think we all, like I said, if we don't do something about it, our country's going to go to hell real quick.
Clearly, there's a lot of blame here for the richest men on earth, not just the ones who live north of Richmond. But for Oliver Anthony, the blame doesn't exactly stop there.
Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds.
Where does that line in the song land with you? Was that one of the things that resonated?
Don't even go to the welfare part. We don't want to go there. I'll probably get thrown out of here.
My view is if you're able to work, you should work.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, where you're from. Pay your own bills, pay your own way. If you can work, work.
Well, I think
Who
some
can
of those programs
work?
are great programs. Don't get me wrong, right? They're great programs, but
Oh,
they're
but
not
only for
lifetime
really
programs. They are a
disabled.
stepping stone program, right? So people fall in hard times, and okay, let me help you up. Let me pick
That's
you up.
not how
now
welfare
carry on.
works.
And also, I have family that has been on welfare that has made it on the other side, right?
Yes.
It's what you want to do with it.
You can
You
use
know?
it
You
to
can use
get-
it to what you want to do.
point is
living on it. Right.
That's a big thing we came out for. Like, who's really causing our problems? People on welfare or like really big billionaires? Like, where do you come
welfare
down?
is amazing. Like I've been a single mom. My girls have been. I think it's the
single dad,
people
like-
that use it and abuse it.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. About 2/3 of Americans use welfare at some point in their life. And over half of children in the US will have used food stamps by the time they turn 18.
Wow.
These percentages are high, and higher than they used to be. That's a trend that started long before Joe Biden or Donald Trump became president. The truth is, millions of Americans are forced to rely on welfare because their jobs don't pay a living wage. Because companies like Walmart skimp on wages while our tax dollars make up the difference. And that kind of corporate welfare is how you get one family owning more wealth than the bottom 40% of Americans.
It's between the billionaires and the corporate lobbies versus folks that are on welfare. Who is more to blame for the problems that we face?
I will still take the elites on that one. My thing is I will never punch down. So it's if there's a problem, it's above. Like, I mean, you can look below, but like most of those people lost their way so long ago. Everyone's just so separated that I don't know if we can ever get back to it. We're so divided against ourselves, common people, for what cause?
There may be some people who misunderstood my words in Richmond, north of Richmond. You know, the words say that there's people on the street with nothing to eat in the obese milk and welfare. And that's not the fault of those people. Welfare only makes up a small percentage of our budget. If we can fuel a proxy war in a foreign land, but we can't take care of our own, that's all the song's trying to say.
From the moment it went viral, Richmond, north of Richmond was the subject of intense political debate.
When a person like yourself gets labeled a right-wing, left-wing fanatic, like right out of the gate.
both in like a week and a half, then yeah, at least I know I'm doing something right.
The truth is, Richmond, north of Richmond resonated with an audience that was much broader than some of the media coverage might suggest.
He's speaking up for the way most of us feel.
The struggle for everybody right now is too real, and it shouldn't be that way.
It's a come together, let's stop the bullshit type of song. This is what we need more of.
When I look at Republicans and Democrats, I see people who are bitter and angry and disgusted with a system that isn't serving anyone.
Everything he speaks about is like exactly where I'm coming from. People are just so, like that guy holding the sign where it was like drain the Dems. And I go, you realize like Republicans are equally responsible for a lot of the stuff going on over there. So it's like, if you can't recognize both evils, we're never going to go anywhere.
He's not even signing really for Democrat or Republican.
What's right and what's wrong?
Yes,
period.
Do you feel like that should be how it is in politics?
Right. At the end of the day, it shouldn't be a right or left party. It's what's right and what's wrong.
The working class.
But Allegan County is also a deep red county.
I wish.
So while there's support here for the message in rich men north of Richmond, there's also a lot of support for someone else.
I think Trump resonates because he's not a politician. Until you get at least half in Washington that's not politicians, we're not going to get rid of the problem.
Your politics are interesting to me because there's like so much that I agree with in there. But, you know, just transparently, I hate Donald Trump because he's from the billionaire class and that's all he's going to work for, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah.
Why go with him instead of, say, leave the top of the ticket blank, go down ballot? Like, how do you make that decision for yourself, holding the opinions that you do?
I love getting challenged on questions like that. No, I love that. I agree with you, too. So it basically comes down, what's the lesser of the two evils right now? I mean, I just think about the 4 years when he was president. Obviously, in my opinion, he's the world's best crime boss. And then you see people posting like in the arms of Jesus, like I was persecuted too, and I'm like, dude, what are we doing?
Does it feel like the system's so captured that you need a crime boss to get out of it? Is that
100,000%? I truly believe like that is where it starts.
One last question: like if it wasn't Trump, it wasn't anybody who's currently here. If you were custom building the exact kind of political candidate you would love to vote for, what kind of stuff would they really stand for?
Wouldn't be a politician. He'd come from a working family, him a working man or woman, or him or her herself, and stand up for the little guy. Because nobody stands up for the little guy in the middle class from day one of this United States has built the United States, and we're the ones that always get shit on.
So, who should we blame for our biggest problems? On that question, we're divided.
Where do you come down? Who do you think, if you had to make a choice?
Sometimes we punch up at the richest men on earth.
Is it one? Yeah, tally. There you go. Thanks, man. You're welcome. Appreciate it.
And sometimes we punch down at the powerless, the people who remind us that the system feels broken beyond repair.
You guys want to vote?
I'll vote.
You'll vote? Poor people. We got one vote for poor people.
But it's worth asking, who profits from pitting us against each other?
Hi, everyone.
And how the hell do we fight back?
You remember in Bug's Life when the grasshopper's like, if they figure out that they outnumber us 500 to 1, we're screwed. It's exactly the same thing. We have 75% of the population punching down, and it's like, oh great, look at us. We're doing exactly what they wanted.
Everybody wants everybody to fight each other. All these
This is turning into a revolution.
Then they lose their money.
Hey you, how's it going? Don James 1676 subscribed to your channel for 14 months.
Don James! 14 months! Let's freaking go! That is so long. I think you are the first 14-monther. Yeah, we are at the affiliate date. So yeah, 14 months, baby. Let's go. Seth Evans makes a good point. Yeah, slaves, famously middle class. Yeah, who built this country? Middle class? Pretty sure it was slave labor. Chat, we have the opportunity to turn some frogs gay. Add some chemicals to the water. If you want to cheer 100 bits or gift a sub, we could have a hype train. Just saying.
I don't like to put chemicals in the water.
Cheer 100. The underscore Night Rider 100 cheered 100 bits.
Cheers, crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life? for you. Place point.
Alright. Well, it's not gonna get me clapped. That I actually wanna listen to.
Sometimes I feel like Karl Marx, but that would be dogmatic. Sipping all this drink, I just spilled it on my fabric. If you have that knowledge, then you know you need the praxis. Red book on my lap, you can never catch me lacking. Sometimes I feel like Karl Marx, but that would be dogmatic. Sipping all this drink, I just spilled it on my fabric. If you have the knowledge, then you know you need the red book on my lap, you can never catch me lacking. I don't worship idols, man, that shit just be so corny. I be with the masses cause the rich just be so boring.
Thank you for the 20 bits, Night Rider.
I feel lonely and I rather feel like Che Guevara than ever be Tony. Tell my mama when I grow up, sorry I'm a communist. Take a flight to Cuba, roll up, blow right in that bit. All up in Jamaica, swear you need to see this shit. She don't wear no makeup, wanna give me all of it. We should take like all of it. We should take like all of it. Careful who you talk to cause they fed and they be counterfeit. I switched out the AR for the AK like a Soviet. Say I get her high like some opiates. Sometimes I feel like Karl Marx, but that would be dogmatic. Sipping all this drink, I just spilled it on my fabric. If you have that knowledge, then you know you need the red book on my lap, you can never catch me lacking. Sometimes I feel like Karl Marx, but that would be dogmatic. Sipping all this drink, I just spilled it on my fabric. If you have the knowledge, then you know you need to praxis. Red book on my lap, you can never catch me lacking.
This song's called Double Take.
Dad.
I'm not your dad. I got
Cheer
catcalled
100.
at 10 minutes.
The
that I've been
underscore
awake
Night
walking my
Rider
dog.
100 cheered 100 bits.
Hold up, wait. Hold up, wait. Everywhere I go, they do it. No. So this is what happened. I'm like walking down the street with my dog, and bro comes back to holler at shorty, and I'ma just have to say, look, the hottest bitch up in my city, ain't no debate about it. Go tell that Karen, stop staring, take a picture, matter of fact. This ain't shit, go hit my Insta, matter of fact. I'm that bitch, so quit your bitching, here's a fact sitting. Look, I am a light in the life of others, decide for sore eyes, not to be trifled to fuck with. I am not ducking and covering, I am not tucking in public. I want you to know what my nuts is. I see your empty wallet, looks a lot where I keep my fucks in. Double take, bitch, hold away. Bitch, hold away. Everywhere I go, they do it. Wait. Wait, bitch, hold up. Wait,
John Jade, thank
everywhere I go, they do
you.
it. Double take. Wait. Bitch, everywhere I go, they do it.
Cheer 100. Don James 1676 cheered 100 bits.
What's between your pants will got me lethal. Now if you with it, grab a pistol, pop a biggie.
30 seconds, chat. Can we do it? 20 seconds. Oh, we're not gonna make it.
Wait. Man, please just be so jealous. Tell them evangelicals need to eat some edibles, vegan, keto. It could be whatever though. Tell them if they really want me, they can come and get me. I don't go quietly and it won't go quickly. I got a big knife and I might chop a dick. She's free like a mason. Walk the line like Dixie. Wait, catch me rolling down magazine. A little skirt, big dick with the purse full of weed. And there's some weirdos with me, some queer hoes with me. And these hecklers reflecting in their thoughts about themselves. They just some mirror hoes. Okay, I'm feeling like Anna Villa era. Kill little biggest out in Paris as soon as I'm finished with killing Americans. I promise my mama that I'ma get closer to God. As soon as they come, I'm gonna learn where to stop. As soon as the devil stop helping me out. As soon as these Baptists stop calling me faggot. As soon as these assholes stop preaching the shit they don't practice. Even a heathen can see you an ass backwards advocate. Better back up before I smack this shit out of you. You lucky I'm puffing, I'm weed and I'm done with the Adderall. You lucky I don't even need to prove anything. So I be doing my thing and they be doing a double take. Double take. I just be walking and walking till motherfuckers run away. Bitch, I am not gonna give you the runaround. How about the runaway? Just one note. If you got something that you wanna say, say that they say an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. These bigots don't see our vision, so they need to be beaten to submission. My existence is not up for debate. So if you trans, grab a hammer, shoot them right in the face. It's damage, bitch.
I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman.
When they see me do better, so they ain't to see me at all. They worry about what's in my drawers when y'all should be worried about what's in my what?
Okay. Fun times. Thank you so much for the hype train chat. We did it. Sorta. We got halfway there. Thank you to Don James and Knight Rider. What am I doing? Losing my mind. All right. Finish this up.
Rich people, one vote for Rich.
If we all work together as a world, as a nation, we would all be happy. We would all wouldn't have to worry about working for our money 24/7. You know, like we just need to work together.
You want socialism, honey.
Oh, the youth are coming out too, bro. You feel like we have power we don't realize?
Yes, I think they have us so dumbed down to believe that we can't. We will never make any progress because we're looking here when we should be looking up.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Definitely. There she is. Pass that around.
Goddamn lie, they broke out. We are more divided today than we've ever been. Everything is about one party or one person trying to hold some moral high ground over the other just for the sake of being able to point your finger down at them. And it's like, what the hell are we doing?
Unbalanced, which way? There she is. We're racking them up. Power of the pen, baby. Thank you for voting.
Say Biden. I think it says Biden. No, it's rich people, but it's Biden.
Nobody knows how to drive here. What do you think about the divide between ducks and geese?
Huge.
That's all you need to know.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh boy. Now come on. this is a paid actor right here. Hi. Thanks for watching our video. If you like this story,
Cute. Everyone check out More Perfect Union. Bum, 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 bum. Obama's doing a rally? What's Obama saying?
Kamala Harris supported, even though it's written by one of the most conservative
He looks
Republicans
old.
in Congress, the same bill that Donald Trump tanked on purpose because he thinks fear-mongering is how he's going to win this election.
I mean, it is.
He told Republicans, even the ones who had originally supported, don't vote for it, because he doesn't want the problem solved. We don't need a president who will make problems worse just to make his own political circumstances better. We need a president who actually cares about solving problems and making your life better, and that's what Kamala Harris will do.
Okay. Hi, Lady Badash.
Hey Psych2Goers, and welcome back to another video. Are you having trouble getting a full night's rest?
Yes.
Do you go to bed at 11 p.m. hoping for a good night's sleep, but wind up waking somewhere between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. instead? Do you feel tired, foggy, and sluggish when you don't get enough sleep? A good night's
Wake up at like 3, 4 in the morning. And I'm like wide awake, can't go back to sleep. So I'll just get up. But then of course, like I'm tired throughout my day. Ridiculous.
Sleep is very important for your health. Are you struggling to get enough
Seriously,
sleep at
for that
night
one.
because of this? If so, let's find out what may be interfering with your natural sleep patterns. Number 1, your lifestyle choices. How much of your daily and nightly routine do you build around ensuring a good night's sleep? Your daily and nightly routines are what will help determine how well you sleep at night. These 5 things can disturb your sleep patterns. Drinking caffeine or alcohol before going to bed, eating food right before bedtime, staying up late on your phone or your computer, taking a nap too late in the day, and smoking. Though we all want to stay up to date on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, when you stay
Okay,
up late checking your feed and scrolling through your phone,
I need caffeine, and my job is to stare at a screen. What do you want me to do?
it'll only make
And I'm addicted to nicotine. I'm sorry.
getting to sleep that much harder for you. And with the business of your day, you might start to feel run down and droopy-eyed. But if you lie down and take a nap in the late afternoon or early evening, you'll be too alert and awake by bedtime to even be able to go to sleep. If you struggle with waking up in the middle of the night, think about your daily and nightly routines and try to weed out some bad habits that may be hindering you from getting proper sleep at night. If you make the changes you need for a good night's rest, then you'll be well on your way to sleeping through the night. Number 2, your emotional state. Can you recall a period of time when you slept well every single night?
No.
Did you have better sleep during a lighter, happier time in your life? It has a
I don't know what
significant
that
effect
is.
on how you sleep and your quality of sleep.
A
Your
lighter,
emotional
happier
state can be left
time?
in
Like
turmoil
what?
if you're experiencing a time
I'm
of
sorry,
heightened
I am a
stress or
walking map of
anxiety, and this can
trauma.
lead to sleep disturbances. Stress and anxiety trigger your ingrained fight or flight feeling, and this will elevate your heart rate, quicken your breathing, and increase the stress hormones in your body, all of which make it more difficult for you to sleep peacefully. If you're struggling with sleep and anxiety in your life, try a guided meditation before bedtime. Deep breathing exercises will also help you relax enough for sleep. Taking a hot shower or bath will help de-stress you enough to wind down properly for bedtime. These tips can help you with your stress or anxiety, and in turn, help you fall asleep and stay asleep. Number 3, low blood sugar. Did you know that low blood sugar can cause your brain to wake you up in the middle of the night? Your brain is very active during the night, as it regenerates, repairs, and converts your short-term memories into long-term memories while you sleep. However, since it's so active during the night, it also uses up a lot of your energy reserves. If you suffer from low blood sugar levels, your brain will consume most of your energy reserves and think that you've run out of fuel. As a result, your brain will release cortisol to make you hungry and wake you up so you can go get something to eat. If you find yourself routinely waking up and going to the kitchen to root around for a midnight snack, you may have low blood sugar levels, and this might be the cause of your sleep disturbances. If you're having trouble sleeping through the night and are waking up at odd hours, do you now have a better sense of why this is happening to you? What are other reasons you think
letter
could
hack.
be
Oh
waking
my
you up at 3
gosh.
a.m. and 5 a.m.? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Please like and share this video if it helped you and you think it could help someone else too. The studies and references used are listed in the description below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe.
Up next, we're gonna take a look at some of the devastation from Hurricane Milton. That's called the munchies. So my sister like abdicated her responsibilities as far as caring for me when her partner moved in. She literally stopped doing anything for me.
Tree debris everywhere.
So I've been struggling a lot with that, and
Do we have any trees on the right side? Yes, we do.
getting, you know, my mom helped with some of the things that I still need help with, like meals and laundry and stuff. But I've been able to shower independently now, so that's good. But yeah, she just. Fabulous. No, this is Milton, the one that hit last night. Yo, fuck that.
Unfortunately, it looks like the bay is meeting the Gulf a bit early. We can walk to the other side of the building and get another look from here. All the debris that was never picked up, look at our piles. It's coming.
This news is funded by viewers like you. Please support our work at democracynow.org/give. More than 3 million people in Florida are without power after Hurricane Milton made landfall in Sarasota County Wednesday as a Category 3 storm with 120-mile-an-hour winds. The storm came just 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene battered Florida and other southeastern states, killing at least 230 people, making it one of the deadliest storms in the last decades. Officials in Florida have just begun assessing the damage caused by Hurricane Milton, from wind damage to flash flooding. Multiple deaths were confirmed after tornadoes tore through a senior center in Fort Pierce. Overall, 116 tornado warnings were issued across Florida Wednesday. In St. Petersburg, the storm ripped off the roof of Tropicana Field, the home of the Tampa Bay Rays baseball team. A massive crane also collapsed in downtown St. Petersburg, where more than 9 inches of rain fell in just 3 hours. CNN described it as a 1-in-1,000-year rainstorm. Earlier this morning, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor urged residents to stay inside.
What we are asking you now is please, please stay inside. Stay inside until we can get out there with our teams. They are all in action right now. We can get out there, assess the damage, and make sure that it's safe for you to go back out into your community or to re-enter your neighborhood.
We begin today's show in St. Petersburg, where we're joined on the phone by Florida State Representative Michelle Rayner, who's among the millions who lost power in the storm. State Representative Rayner, welcome back to Democracy Now! I'm sorry it's under these circumstances. I know you've moved from one place to another. St. Petersburg has experienced a 1-in-1,000-year rainstorm. Can you describe, as the sun comes up, what you see and the devastation, and then link it to the kind of help that is being offered and what the governor is saying of Florida, DeSantis?
Thank you so much, Amy. And I'm glad to be back. Definitely not under these circumstances. And can y'all hear me okay, by the way?
We hear you perfectly. And I should explain to our listeners and viewers that usually we have you on screen, but because you've lost electricity, we just have you on the phone. Go ahead.
Correct. So we have no power. There's no internet right now. There's also no ability to use water. So the water has been shut down here. I evacuated my home, which is in evacuation zone B over by a lake in St. Petersburg. I came more inland into St. Petersburg, but I'm still here. I walked out of my best friend's home, and trees and limbs are down here. The reports I've been getting from county and city officials, as you mentioned in the intro, the Tropicana Field top was blown off. Cranes have been knocked into other buildings. There has been flooding. I was born and raised in Pinellas County. I have lived here off and on my whole life. I have never experienced a storm quite like this. It is disheartening. I don't even know what my own home looks like right now, so I can't even get there to see what that looks like. As far as the help that the governor is proposing, right now everything is up in the air. We don't know. I'm concerned because he was already ahead of the storm, playing political games, not taking phone calls from Vice President Kamala Harris, making this political members of his party spreading disinformation around FEMA. And this is just not the time. This is not the time for these type of games. This is not the time for these type of shenanigans. It's just not. We have people, we don't know what the loss of life looks like right now. We have people that were devastated by Helene that now have the double trauma of Milton, who lost everything in Helene. who now has probably have lost maybe even more. So I am hopeful that all of us will work together and put, aside these games, but it is, I also know who I'm dealing with. So I'm hopeful that we would be able to do that. I mean, and the reason I say I know who I'm dealing with, last 2 weeks ago when Helene ripped into Florida, I had the idea for the state to lift the moratorium to lift the bans on short-term rental. Because here in the state of Florida, you can only have a short-term rental for about 14 days. And I had the idea for the state to lift that and say, lift the bans on the short-term rentals. I knew that I couldn't call the governor. I knew that if I tweeted it, I knew if I sent a letter about it, I knew he would immediately not even entertain it. So I had to have other people serve as intermediaries and give him this idea so he would think that it was his idea in order for him to do that. So I know who I'm dealing with.
And Representative Rayner, I'm wondering, the evacuation of more than 5 million people, this is the largest in Florida history. How did that go? And what about these reports that there was a price gouging at many gas stations?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I live near, a major interstate that gets you out of Florida or
That's
gets you
awesome.
down south. And it
I'm
was
so
so
glad.
my best friend, whose house I'm staying at, her and her wife, they drove to Miami. Miami's maybe a 3.5 hour drive. It took them 6 hours to get there, right? And we have seen price gouging not only of hotels, but Airbnbs, of gas, of all of these
$50 a month kick deal
to contact
$50K a month kick deal.
General in Florida, contact our office, report it, take pictures of it.
I was just telling that a little bit ago how I can't find anywhere to live that I can afford on my total monthly income. Like, not even, it's like, oh, you're supposed to spend a third of your monthly income on rent. I'm like, all of my income, none of it. Like, there's not a single affordable fucking place. I'm like, can I get a $50,000 a month kick deal? Did I just get $50,000? Like, just one? Just like one of those? Because I'm like, I'm sure somebody would rent to me if I'm like, here's a year's worth of rent up front. Let me live here. I'm sure they'd be fine with that. But without that, take the kick deal. I wish, yeah. Watch him not be able to stream. No, I hope the best for him. I honestly do. I'm sure he's great. He was funny. I wish the best for him. Apparently, George W. passed a bill that made shelters have to take in pets from people evacuating an area. But yes, these animals really suffer in these storms. It's awful to think about. Yeah, we saw a news report of from NBC last night where they stopped and rescued a dog that somebody had left tied to a fence. So sad.
Time people to be preying on folks' vulnerability.
I also wanted to ask you about the rumors that are going around, I should say the lies, of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but it goes beyond her state in Georgia, who says that the government is manipulating the weather, the denial of climate change, and also that FEMA will not be providing money, and how this can be a life and death situation. It's not just misinformation, but if people believe this, how you're dealing with this in Florida, State Representative.
So right now, a lot of us are
we may have lost State Representative Michelle Rayner. She was just speaking to us on the phone. Yes, go ahead. Your answer, State Representative.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you now. I know this is a tough situation.
So, yeah, it is. So I give kudos to our city and county partners and state officials. We are releasing videos. We are releasing information on social media. We are making sure that our constituents know that that's patently not true, that no one's coming to take your house, that if you apply for any FEMA funding, that has nothing to do with taking your home or any of these things that have been falsely put out there. And so it's really just us providing that information to people. I know that we're going to have teams of folks going door to door, letting people know about what is available to them in this time, not only on the city, county, and state, but also federal level. But once again, these are people that spread these lies. It is just completely not the time. And it's heartbreaking. I mean, people have already lost so much. They've already lost so much. Why would you do this in this time? Why would you do this in the time where people need help? Things cost money. People, why would you do this?
You're breaking up, State Representative Michelle Rayner, but we thank you so much for being with us, and we're going to check back with you as the sun just comes up in Florida right now. Democratic Florida State Representative. Democracy Now! Is funded by viewers like you. Please give today at democracynow.org/.
Tracking Milton tonight, a live look right there over Tampa, Florida. A lot of flooding already rushing Bayshore Boulevard.
This is from yesterday.
Next to Tampa Bay. And
nearby,
some refusing to evacuate ahead of that dangerous storm. Joseph Malinowski, known to locals as Lieutenant Dan, he's generated a lot of heat so far tonight. Earlier, you see it here, police tried to force him to leave his sailboat in Tampa Bay, but he didn't head to shelter. He refused to get in. Now, video from today shows him struggling to prepare that sailboat for the conditions to come. He survived Hurricane Helene 2 weeks ago and says, even facing arrest, even risking his own life, he is riding out that storm tonight.
God sent me here. He sent me here. He told me to come here. My life, this is nothing compared to what I've been through, so this doesn't scare me. This is not even a minor inconvenience.
Again, hours earlier, Mayor Jane Castor of Tampa did threaten to arrest him for his own protection and force him into a shelter. And at this hour, it's unclear if that has happened yet.
New tonight.
Dan, you weren't afraid at all last night?
No, I'm not scared of anything. What I've been through, this weather is nothing, and I put my faith in God.
Lieutenant Dan's story has taken social media by storm, literally riding out the massive storm Hurricane Milton in his sailboat. On Thursday morning, once the rain and winds had passed, he spoke with CBS about what it was like overnight.
It was pretty mellow. The wind picked up for a little bit. It bounced me around. At one point last night, I was getting bashed up against this wall. So I went out and I cut my anchor line to get away from it. So I have a $250 anchor sitting down there that I got to go in and get.
Dan, you weren't afraid at all last night?
No, I'm not scared of anything. What I've been through, this weather is nothing, and I put my faith in God. God told me to come here. God told me 5 years ago, I was in Colorado, He put on my heart, Tampa, Florida, and get a boat. I woke up one morning with that on my heart, and that's all I could think about. And I left Colorado, I went to North Carolina, left North Carolina, came to Florida. I've been in Florida for 5 years, stuck on the East Coast, never came over. In March, I came over, I found this boat for $1,200. I bought it, I come to Tampa, and guess what? Tampa floods. Not today, not yesterday, but during the last one, Helena. Helena was way worse than what this one was.
The 54-year-old's real name is Joseph Malinowski. He is missing his lower left leg. His nickname, Lieutenant Dan, refers to a similarly disabled Forrest Gump movie character. He tells NBC News his leg was amputated after he was hit by a car at 16. Malinowski went viral on TikTok after people learned he was planning on weathering the hurricane from his small boat.
Are you okay? Everybody's worried about you.
Who's worried about it?
It's all over TikTok.
Everybody, across the country.
I'm gonna go live in a minute.
Are you gonna be okay?
I'm gonna be fine.
I don't think people realize you're so close to down. I mean, you could just get off if something bad happened. You know what I mean?
I'm not going anywhere because the safest place to be is on a boat in a flood. Okay, we learned that with Noah. Everybody that stayed on land drowned. Noah and the animals lived.
Reporter Brian Enton with News Nation shared this video of Lieutenant Dan the morning before the storm.
If the tide goes up, I go up. As long as the water stays out of the boat, I'll be fine. And the wind is, it's not a tornado. It's not going to get lifted up and thrown into Kansas.
There were tornadoes.
It's not like that. I'm not suicidal, but I'm putting it in God's hands and taking it out of mine and man's.
All right.
So I'm sitting tight.
The journalist then shared an update after the worst of the weather had passed. Lieutenant Dan seemingly doing fine.
Lieutenant Dan! Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm fine. Are you sure? I think you made it through the worst of it. Yeah. The water's all receded here. Okay, well we're gonna stay up here, so all right.
Oh, Squish, it's perfect.
After the experience, he says he'd do it again if he had to.
I mean, they were calling for a Cat 5. I didn't know what to expect. But what happened last night was nothing compared to Helena.
So you think if another storm rolls through Tampa, you're going to remain on your boat?
Yeah, I'd remain on the boat no matter what.
Uh-oh. That's Lieutenant Dan. Oh my goodness.
This news is funded by viewers like you. Please support our work at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, War, Peace, and the Presidency. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As many as 28,000 people incarcerated in Florida jails and prisons were in the mandatory evacuation zone for Hurricane Milton. But many officials refused to relocate the prisoners and insisted their facilities were safe. Meanwhile, an incarcerated person who was evacuated to a Florida maximum security prison shared their experience last night on social media. Quote, "Power's out in here, and the correctional officers are hiding in their offices while we're left in the dark. We're shouting for meds and updates, but no one's listening. Just trying to hold on and hope this storm doesn't swallow us whole, unquote. For more, we're joined by Jordan Martinez, an organizer with the Campaign to Fight Toxic Prisons and the group's Hurricane and Disaster Response Team. They helped organize pressure campaigns for officials to evacuate incarcerated people during this storm, as they have for many others. Welcome to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Jordan, explain what the situation has been now in Florida for prisoners.
Yeah, the ongoing situation, Amy, in Florida has been one of almost complete neglect and fiction writing by the Florida Department of Corrections and various county sheriff's offices, jails, etc., claiming that incarcerated people are in fact being evacuated. The Florida Department of Corrections claims 5,600 almost incarcerated people were evacuated, but in the list of facilities that they released, the vast majority of those evacuated were from work camps, halfway houses, work release centers, and in many cases they were evacuated to quote-unquote hardened facilities literally across the street. For example, Lowell Work Camp, which is part of the Lowell Correctional Institution Women's Prison that organizers in Florida with Change Comes Now have been fighting around various conditions. Lowell Work Camp evacuated dozens of yards away to Lowell Correctional. And so we're seeing this fiction being raised by FDOC as well as the county sheriffs. We attempted to help force evacuations in multiple mandatory evacuation zones along the West Coast, and we were able to achieve one evacuation of the Orient Road Jail in Hillsborough County, but Manatee County, Lee County, Pinellas County, as well as St. Johns County on the eastern coast all left prisoners in mandatory evacuation zones in the jails.
And Jordan, you mentioned Pinellas County. The sheriff there stated that, quote, it's really not possible to evacuate the jail because of the number of inmates, and he instead moved people to higher floors. Can you talk about that?
I think this is, again, part of the fiction that the sheriffs and officials in Florida like to spin to project a sense of confidence in the face of conditions that are entirely unpredictable in hurricane situations. For the vast majority of hurricanes that we've organized around, the actually most dangerous portions of the hurricanes are not the immediate storm surges that might flood the first floor of a prison, jail, or detention center. It's actually the aftermath in the days and weeks following, in which water is cut off, access to food is cut off, power is cut off, medical supplies are cut off. And so evacuating people to higher floors when the bottom floor is completely destroyed that houses the majority of those facilities that keep the entire system running within the prison that people need to survive their basic living necessities. It can create conditions in which, as has been reported on Democracy Now! Before, people are forced to drink water from the toilet because they have no other access. And we see this again and again and again in disaster situations. And the fact that they are unable to evacuate people in mandatory evacuation zones, I think, goes to show the complete lack of prioritization of the lives of incarcerated people during hurricanes. And I think we can all agree, if we are prioritizing the safety of our communities, those communities must include the incarcerated people inside that are themselves organizing on the inside to fight for better conditions, and quite often being forced during hurricanes to prepare to protect their communities via forced slave labor with sandbags or in cleanup in the aftermath.
And Jay, The Intercept reports prisoners in North Carolina were left in their cells without running water or power for nearly a week, cut off from communication with the outside world, and forced to keep their waste in plastic bags in their cells from Helene. Your final comments on what needs to be done?
I think the final comments on what needs to be done is there needs to be mandatory in-place rules and regulations during evacuations when a certain category of hurricane is coming in that require and force state and local county officials to have evacuation plans in preparation in advance. And lastly, I want to close with a quote from inside that we have with Jailhouse Lawyers Speak, who are the folks that reported those inside conditions. And we believe it's very important that incarcerated people are allowed to speak for themselves in these conditions. So this is coming out of the Florida Department of Corrections itself. Jailhouse Lawyers Speak says, "We urge the public to understand our plight as people in jails and prisons. We suffer during natural disasters in locked, dark cells, not knowing if we will survive or not. This is not just a logistical failure, it's a profound moral failing. While entire towns are evacuated and communities band together to seek safety, we remain locked within these walls, treated as less than human. It is heartbreaking to think that while the world prepares for survival during a pending natural disaster such as Hurricane Milton, we are still treated as if we don't matter, as if our lives can be tossed aside in the name of protocol. We must end this normalized routine. We beg the public to pay attention and have a heart of compassion."
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us, Jay, or Jordan Martinez, an organizer with the Campaign to Fight Toxic Prisons, the group's hurricane and disaster response team. Democracy Now! Is funded by viewers like you. Please give today at democracynow.org/give.
Manuel, I remember your comment. Hi, vibrator. Yeah, it's really fucked up how we treat people who are incarcerated. Dehumanize them to the point that we really don't care about their lives. I know, it's great. Sometimes, like, if like my nephew's like right outside my room or something, I have to be like, hey you. I don't want to just be like, oh my god, God forbid I just have to answer any questions. Oh, my tween nephew. I want to say, like, thank you for the donos that we have received already. Really appreciated. Super amazing that you guys were able to come together for me quickly and sufficiently, and you know, I'll be able to get through the next few days. So win. So I am going to go eat. Yeah, let's raid over to the leftist mafia. Let's go show them our solidarity. All right. Yeah, little short stream. You know, the YouTubers do it. Why can't I? No, YouTubers, we're gonna need to grab a link for you. I don't know how to do that.
It never goes the Mets way, and then all of a sudden everything's everything's coming up roses for the Mets
This
right
is
now.
honestly, this is their moment. There's so much talent,
All
and
right.
you could just feel the energy this time.
You know
I'm
nothing,
hearing
Mike.
people talk about
Say like
Oh.
Adrian Reid or something.
You almost had me for a second. I'm like, do you
You-
watch
you
baseball?
totally had
This
me.
is a new thing.
Yeah.
we got more than just a team this year. We have a number
I love
of,
you guys. Thank you so much.
of good luck
Thank you for all the
charms, like
support.
Grimace. We
I will be
got
back.
The one of the
McDonald's
players.
Grimace.
Is Grimace?
Yeah.
Definitely tomorrow morning.
I don't
I'm like,
understand how
hopefully
Grimace
not
is a
between now and
haven't-
tomorrow
you haven't
morning.
seen
Hopefully I
anything
just
on
get
that,
some
man. I don't
rest.
Follow this shit.
Grimace has been all. In fact,
Yeah, thanks
the
for being
7
here.
train
And
has now been decked
I'll try to
out
do more
with, Grimace wearing a Mets
YouTube
hat.
stuff. It's been
Oh, I
difficult
saw
lately,
some video of,
but
like,
I'll
Grimace
I'll
on
try
the
to
train. I
get
didn't
back
know the
over on the
context of that.
YouTubes.
So
But
this
not
is
the
what happened.
Hamburglar,
The
just
Mets-
Grimace.
It was
The
Grimace.
Jets Grimace. 'Cause this
All
is
right,
what
you
happened. The
guys.
Mets were
Take it
easily one of the
easy.
worst teams in baseball at the start of the season. They
Bye.
were like 12 or 13 games below 500, which is like, an equal amount of win-loss games you won and lost. And they were doing really bad. And then